Hello. Welcome to the Hammer Museum. I'm Claudia Bester. I'm the Director of Public Programs and Education, and it is my great honor to introduce Sebastião Salgado tonight. I'm also delighted that our UCLA Chancellor Jean Block and Mrs. Block are here. And I'd also like to extend a warm welcome to Brazilian Consul General José Alfredo Graça Lima and his wife. Thank you for coming so much. I also really want to thank our very generous supporters, without whom tonight would not have been possible, and that's especially Peter Fetterman and Andy and Branya Galiff. Thank you. Sebastião Salgado is one of the most celebrated documentary photographers, and it's very hard to introduce someone for whom I have such bottomless admiration and respect. He's done so much to bear witness to injustice, imbalance, and to the teetering interdependence of human beings and the environment. Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis said that sunlight is the best disinfectant, and with his camera, Salgado has shown sunlight on some of the forgotten people of the earth. In his epic journeys across Africa, Latin America, and Asia, and nearly every nation on the planet, he's documented the human toll of violence and poverty in visually stunning photographs of manual laborers, refugees, sprawling metropolises, and wild, untamed natural landscapes. His consciousness-raising projects have ranged from ethnic cleansing in the Balkans to famine victims in Ethiopia to impoverished workers the world over. And for his work, he's been described as Gandhi with a camera. His 7-year journey to 40 countries for the series of photographs that was published as Migrations, Humanity in Transition was documented in the 2001 film Salgado, The Spectre of Hope. With a worldwide reputation as a great humanitarian and as an incredible artist, he had a mid-career retrospective at the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. He's been honored with the Hasselblad Award, Photographer of the Year by the International Center for Photography, and has honorary doctorates from the New School and other universities. Salgado sees his personal life and his personal wife as an extension of his humanitarian and environmental work. And in 1998, he established the Instituto Terra with his wife Leila to restore biodiversity to the Atlantic Rainforest in Brazil and to encourage sustainable development and conduct research and environmental education. There is an exhibition of Salgado's beautiful and haunting photographs that you have probably seen in his book, Africa. It's on exhibition right now at the Fetterman Gallery in Bergamot Station in Santa Monica. And I encourage you all to go see it. Even if you've seen all of his books, you cannot imagine what it's like to see these photographs in an original print. They're just really mind-blowing. A life such as his cannot really be summarized by the likes of me, so I think I should turn it over to the man himself. Please join me in welcoming Sebastião Salgado.
Thank you very much, people. I want to start apologizing to you because I'm not doing any speech or conference, We came here more for a conversation. I didn't prepare nothing right. And I tell a little bit about what I did in my life as photographer and explain a little bit about the new project that I'm working on it. And after we be see a few pictures of this project, and after we be open for discussing between us a little bit, that you put a few questions and I try to reply it. I wanted to start telling you that I born in Brazil in a place that I can consider the paradise. I born in a farm, interior, very far away from Brazilian coast. When I was child, we live between 30 families in this farm. It's farm of my father and my mother, and with a lot of rainforest down yet. We had about 60% of the area covered in rainforest, swim in these small rivers with the caimans, fishing, turning around. It was fabulous life, fabulous life. After, it was necessary to me to migrate, to go to a town a little bit bigger when I finished the first part of my secondary school. in my small town. And was the time that everyone in Brazil was migrating also. In that time, Brazil has a little bit more than 90% rural population. And with the model was changing. You have one idea, in 40 years, Brazil came for 90% of rural population. Today, 85% of urban population. Had a big change. What we were accomplishing in 400 years in the United States, we did in 40 years. We had a real revolution happens in this country. No? And I was part of this movement. And I came to a town called Vitória. It's the capital of a state close to mine, to do the second part of my secondary school. And also I did my college. And when I came to the college, the first year, I met Lelia. Lelia was very young. She was 16 years old. Me, 19. And I did my studies in economy. And after we went together to São Paulo, we became married when I finished my college. We became married. Lelia was finishing the conservatory in piano. And we went to São Paulo, where I did master's degrees in economy. And after, by the pressure in Brazil, we were very linked to the leftist movement, students' leftist movement fight against the dictatorship in Brazil. And was necessary to leave Brazil in a moment, because the situation became so tight, so complicated, that also we take a decision to go to the clandestinity, fight against the dictatorship, what did many people, or leave Brazil, what we did in 1969. We went to France, where I continued my studies, doing a PhD in economics, and not in microeconomy, but in social economy, political economy, in macroeconomy. And that time that Lelia had finished the conservatory in piano, come to Paris, and she started the class of architecture. And it's called National des Beaux-Arts in Paris. I went to be economist in London, International Coffee Organization, and doing missions to Africa. I bring a camera, Lelia's camera, that was one camera that she bought to do pictures in architecture, and I started my photography. It's that time just that I started to take a few pictures. And coming back to London, where I live in London that time, my pictures gave me 10 times more pleasure than the economic reports that was right in the projects. And in 1973, we take the decision together that I will become photographer. I will abandon my career of economist, and we take decision to go back to France, to Paris, and I started my career of photographer. And what was very important for me was these years that I spent in the university, because gave me a very good basis to go to one country, because I started working news, work for a press agency in France called Gamma. And Gamma was my real school of photojournalism. I had never made any studies in photography. I learned by myself. And they accepted me this press agency. But this base that I get in economy, arrive in a country, was supposed to me to do one analysis of the situation, a synthesis of the situation. I started to photograph in a few days, send my pictures back, and I work a lot in that time for Newsweek, or for Paris Match, or for Stern magazine in German. And I started to work on this, and that gave me an incredible motivation and basis to go to work. And to be in a place, in a universe that was possible to understand. And this basis that I had from the university was very important. Today, when young photographers come to me and ask what I must do in photography, what can be the starting for me, you say, you stop to do photography, you go to the university, you study anthropology, sociology, economy, that will give you a nice basis of analysis, enough to go back to the photography. Because if you don't have these tools, you arrive sometimes in a limit of choice. I worked many times, many years in many agents with very nice photographers and capable to do incredible pictures, but not capable to do a real appreciation of the society that you are living. And I believe that's the most important thing when you are doing social photography, human photography, is to have a good understanding of the reality that you live on it. And I started these photographies doing a lot of, as I was coming from a country with incredible social movements in Brazil. As I said, in 40 years we become very urban. And with all the problems and all the revolutionary ideas and movements that they can carry with this evolution. And doing my social studies, of course, that I start doing social photography. And I work a lot for many years in press agents, work for magazines, but basically work in social photography. I work a lot, my first works were in Africa, and I worked for many years in Africa. I did, my first book was a book called Other Americas. In that time, was not more possible to come back to Brazil. The dictatorship was very strong there. We stayed 11 years out of our country. And the only way to me to come more close to my country was to come to Bolivia, to Peru, to Ecuador, to Paraguay, the countries neighbor to Brazil, and to feel my country. And I started to come in, taking photographies. In few years, we accumulate enough pictures that Lelia designed her first book, and my first book of photography, that was Other Americas. And this book was published here, also in the United States, in France, and Spain. And parallel to this, I was working also in Africa, and we had a big starvation going on in Africa, started in 1984, 85, and I worked there a lot with a group of doctors called Médecins Sans Frontières, the Doctors Without Borders, and Lelia designed a book that was published in Europe called Sahel, the Man in Distress. And we tried to publish this book in the United States. And in that time, the book was published in Europe in 1986, and every publisher that we contacted in this country said, no, the Americans are not prepared to see these pictures because we are very tough. It's incredible because the same book was published here, as the name is Sahel, the End of the Road, about 3 years ago by the Berkeley University. And it's incredible. Now the Americans are prepared to see that, no? But with a difference of about 15 years when they saw really these pictures. And in reality, the work that I did as photographer was always linked with the reality that we are living. I remember when I was photographing the Sahel, we were discussing a possibility to do a book about this huge transformation that was happening in the world that we can consider the end of the first big industrial revolution. You remember probably in this country when the cars were produced, the car was part of work of every worker that was inside the assembly lines of the car. Everyone put his effort together, and the car was part of this full effort. From a moment, the things started to change. We started to have these very intelligent machines in the line of production, and the cars started to be built by robot. And was necessary to work in a quite a different way in the assembly lines, because these robots sometimes they need fresh air. Was necessary to refrigerate the air, not for the men or the humans working there. Was necessary for the machines, and we changed the way. In the furnace, in the high furnace, that completely changed. Man was pushed out and modernized with the computers arriving. And we start to see that incredible revolution, the way to produce in the world was going on. And we prepare a book. We say, we work on this. And we prepare a body of work that take me to photograph about 5 years in 28 different countries, looking yet for this kind of industry that had not yet changed. And we did a book called Workers, the Archaeology of Industrial Era. It was work in homage of the working class, and we take as base the concept of productive work that Karl Marx had made his proposition, his economic analysis, his proposition, and philosophical proposition, and was the concept of productive work. And that means we work with the guys, the miners, in the transformation industry, in agriculture, but not small agriculture, but agriculture of big numbers, no, using employees, and work on this in this book, in this group of pictures, and we started to see that this new revolution that was going on the way to produce mostly in this modern part of the planet, the United States, European countries, and Japan, and a lot of this kind of old industry was be transferred for countries as our country, as China, as India. An incredible transformation was going on in these countries also. As I said, my country in few years had a change of model that happens also in India, that happens also in China. And we started to see that the human family start to be organized in a completely different way. And we start to see that the movement of migration in the planet was about 100 million people abandoning the fields, abandoning their place and going to another, because the reorganization of system of production in the world was in total transformation. We are living an incredible revolution. And from there, it started the idea to us to produce another work about this movement of population. When I finished to photograph workers, we prepared, and just 1 year later started to photograph the movement of population, and that became a book called Migrations in this country. And in reality, I worked for 7 years in 46 different countries around the world doing this movement of population. I work a lot very close from here. I work a lot in the border between Mexico and the United States, a lot of the border patrol. In the Mexican side, a lot of the group of Beta, there's a police that work also in the border. There is not a police to stop the migration, come inside, but to protect migrants. And there was a social police in Mexico, very important, that no one knows about this group of police, but they are very important. They accept to work with them not only in the border of the United States, but also in the border between Mexico and Guatemala. And work very close here in these condates, in these lands with Mexicans come and be inside the bush and trying to get inside the American market of work, and work a lot in Gibraltar, people crossing from Africa inside Europe. But the most part of this work was done inside the countries where the population movement was happening. No? And that became a body of work also called Migration, that we had exhibitions that went different parts of the world. And in that time, we start a project in Brazil because my father was become very old, and my mother also. I have 7 sisters, and I'm the only man in my family, and my sisters, my mother and my father take the decision that the farm was to stay with Leila and myself, because I was the only man. They didn't wish to sell this farm for outside. And we took this farm, and that was the paradise where I born. And when we arrived to the paradise from 60% of rainforest came for 0.3% of rainforest. We had destroyed all. Not only in this farm, but in all region, our region where we lived. And our valley, that's an incredible big valley, it's as big as Portugal, our watershed in our region, and completely destroyed. the huge erosion, because it's a hilly region, all the water system was killed. And for us, it was very dramatic to see this land destroyed. And we're there to take a decision. And Leila had an incredible decision, said, why we don't replant the rainforest that was here before? Said, oh, that would be not easy. We call a friend of ours, an engineer in forest, that made a calculation for us. I said, okay, to rebuild this land in rainforest, we must plant 2.5 million trees. I said, oh my God, how you do this? But always, we start. We get this land in 1990, and we slowly by slowly, we tried to had few money we put inside. We started to ask any friends around the world. We came here, we made many meetings in the United States. We get a lot of people backing us in the beginning, and we started the project. In reality, friends, today we had planted 1.5 million trees. It's there in the ground. No? We create an educational center. Thank you. Educational center. We create a residence for students come out of schools of technicians in agriculture. We transform them they become our interns for 2 years, and they go out as technicians in agriculture they were, and environment. We have the biggest nursery for natural trees, local trees of our state. We have a capacity to produce today 1.1 million trees per year, small trees, seedlings. We consume in our plantation about 150,000 per year that we can plant, 200,000 maximum. And all others go for the other farmers. We are producing now seedlings or for the state. And it's incredible. We are accomplishing a kind of miracle. The things coming back in our region is an incredible project. And working on this project, I was finishing migration, and we came the idea was necessary to do photographies because I'm not very young. I'm now 65 years old, and to do a project about the planet, a kind of homage to the planet. And we start to have ideas. The first idea that we had was to do a kind of denunciation, to do about the pollution, destruction of the forest. And after we came down, said, no, this is done, a lot of photographers work, we don't need more because there are a lot of pictures of this. And we came idea, probably do another story about what's pristine in this planet, to show the people that yet we have a lot of land, like the day of the beginning, and that we start to do a research. We came here to Washington, D.C., with international Conservation International. That's a quite a big non-governmental organization in the United States that have incredible archives, and did a long research, and we saw that 44% of the planet is yet like the day of the Genesis, like the day of the beginning. We destroy 56% of the planet, built in what we can call our economic development, no? What the need of comfort of humanity to ensure all these migrations, all our needs, but 44% is there yet. Of course, that is not the most important side of the planet, but because they are the big deserts, they are the big cold forests in the world, a small slice yet of the rainforest in Amazonas, are the lands over 3,000 meters. No, the interval 3,000 meters is about 12,000 feet, 11,000 feet. The very cold lands as Antarctica, but always, altogether, was necessary, is about 44% of the planet. And we started to see that humanity was living in a very special way. We are an animal, like other animals. We are just one species between thousands of other species. We came from the nature. In a moment, we live inside the nature. In reality, we are nature. it is urban movement that push us in direction of this big group of humans. We become to be urbans, but our nature, our real nature, is not this one. In a point that we consider ourselves only a rational animal, the only rational animal in this planet. No? If someone in the street tells you, hey, you are an animal, you beat him. Yes, no, I'm not an animal, I'm a human. No, we are animal. And I believe that we forget this, and probably this movement outside of ourself, this negation of ourself, no, is probably this that is provoking all this big disequilibrium that we are living. You see, you go for these meetings discussing about the heating of the planet, about the destruction of the rainforest, about the AIDS, about the pollution of the oceans. Each time we discuss more, and each time the problem is more far away from to get a solution. No? When you see the way that we live in this country today, the way that you live 40 years before, the equilibrium in the United States was much more bigger than today. The way that the distribution of health was made in this country had a real median class. And today you have an incredible concentration of health in the hands of very few people. And we have a big number of poor people, same here inside. And when you see the disequilibrium between countries as the United States and the poor countries is much bigger yet. No? When you see the way that we built our building, this building here, we need a refrigerator in the summer, and you need heat this inside in the winter. No, we have buildings here that the consumption of energy is much bigger than many medium-sized towns around the world. Just one building. How can we live like this? How we can take all this energy from inside our planet? How we can destroy the forest? No, we get a point in our life that's very complicated. We create atomic energy. No, it's the first time in the story of humanity, of the world, that the whole world can be destroyed together by the power that we create with this atomic energy. In reality, we don't know very well what to do with the residues of this. If you go for a war with all this we have, we destroy all. And today you have open opportunity that the terrorist act that can be used this power. That means we never had as many people die by starvation like we have now. The time that we produce the most big amount of grains of food, of meat in the world, of any kind of product. We never had as many people dying in this catastrophe as Rwanda, in genocide like we are having now. That means we are living a very special moment. And personally, we believe that the reason that we break this kind of equilibrium. We break this link that we had with ourselves, with our planet. We are living in total distance from where we come from. And I believe that we must build a way to go back, no? To respect our trees, to see that these trees, they have dignity like we have dignity. If we go in front of a gorilla, the gorilla is a human being like we are. We are a human being. I work in this project with gorillas in Africa. When we come in front of a group of gorillas, you are received like you are receiving a family when you go inside the house of humans. No? I saw incredible things photographing these pictures. For example, in Galapagos, one day, I was with my guide, and I saw come back an albatross from a long trip. Albatross land, they fly very beautiful, but they land very bad. No, he came, and he landed, and a lot of dust on him. He cleaned himself, and he came direction to his girlfriend because they are very sincere. They have a girlfriend for full life, and he came to her, and it's very beautiful because it's a huge bird. You know, his wings open. It's here from there. And she was come to him, he was dancing to her, she danced to him, he came, he goes, he come, and moment he touched the back, and he stops, she stops, and he run one side, she run the other, and I ask my guide, what happened? He said, he just discovered that it's not his girlfriend. Oh, that's incredible. And, you know, these guys, they are as smart as we are, no? They are as rational as we are. Inside their rationality, inside their system of life. You see a few pictures that will be projected in a few minutes about whales. I work in Argentina and Patagonia, with whales in the low part of Patagonia, in a place called Peninsula Valdez, where we have the right whale that come from Antarctica to breed in two small gulfs. They are about 600 whales there together in very small gulfs for a few months. And I came to work with them. And these whales, we become very friend. We had one whale that we come to see basically every day. And in the end, in the beginning, she was a little bit scared. She had a baby, but she don't allow the babies to come close to our boat. After, she allowed a little bit. After, she came itself. And when we were coming with the boat, when the sea was very, very flat, because Patagonia, the sea is normal, or very strong, and she turned the boat, and the eyes of the whales are very down, turned up to look who was coming. She came close to the boat as a dog. And she never reached our boat like this because it's a 40-ton animal, 25 meters long. And our boat was a small boat. If she broke our boat. And she never reached. She came, I taught her as a dog. And this 25 meters long whale shake. Oh. When it was going out, she get the cue, inside the water, came back, she came to the boat again. It's incredible to see an animal, the biggest one in the ocean of the animals, be it probably the most delicate one. And these whales are called the right whale because they were curious to the humans. They came to the boats, and when we killed them. In the beginning of the last century, these whales were about 300,000 whales. Today they are 2,700. They are finished as a species because they began to be all the same blood. In 20,000 years more, 10,000 years more, they will be not more there. They will disappear as a species. And that's a shame when you see these things happen in our planet, And what will be happen with all us if the biggest one will disappear? Probably the danger will be as big as the small one will disappear. We need all this chain together to live in equilibrium. No? We have this incredible forest, rainforest, that we see a few pictures here now. And imagine we are destroying these rainforests. Inside this rainforest, we have an incredible group of humans living yet. We are discussing with Leila about 10 days ago with the president of National Foundation of Indians in Brazil. We are just come back from a shooting inside the Amazonas forest, where they're living with a group of Indians for about 40 days. And they tell us that we have inside Amazonas yet 70 groups. They know where they are, but no contact was made. These guys don't know nothing about our Occidental way of life, no? And imagine if you destroy the forest, we destroy all this. All this has disappeared. And we are destroying very fast this forest. And it's the only way that we have until now to know what a real animal we are, because we can find ourselves like we who was 50,000 years before. We exist yet like we were 50,000 years before. And a way to us to know how we will be in 50,000 years from now is to go back to the beginning of us. And we can go back. We are there. We must protect, in a sense, ourselves, protecting the forest, protecting the species that is there. And that is the project that we are working now, called Genesis. When we take the decision a few years ago to do a homage to the planet, is this project that take decision to do. To look what is the most pristine on the planet and do a body of work that we divide in four parts. One was Noah Arch, that we can, if you can call, is the the purity of the planet, is the landscapes. These landscapes can have a way to approach them, I'm sure. I try my best. You'll see a few pictures here. And because these landscapes, they are alive. They are very alive, more alive than we imagine. I was in the Sahara now in January and February, working in the south of Libya and south of Algeria. It's incredible to see how charged this planet, how they move these lands, no? To see these mountains inside that I thought that were stones, they are not stones. They are sand compressed. They were compressed in the last glaciation. And the scientists that work with me down there, they said, Sebastian, all the sand that's sand now, in the next glaciation, they will be recompact again. And all these valleys that are full of sand, they will become green valleys like they were before. We found there a lot of pines in this kind of things that look as stone, that was made 12,000 years before, of elephants, giraffes, all the wild animals that were living there inside the Sahara 12,000 years before. Now they are not more, because the planet is living, is alive, and is moving, no? And it's about these that we are working, no? Trying to see in this first chapter, Ark of Noé, the planet, the landscape, from where we come from, and see that all things, all elements from the beginning are there yet. And we are working with the other animals, and try to be close to the tortoise, to be close of the elephants, to be close with gorillas, not to photograph this animal like one exotic animal, no? Try to see, no, try to show this animal like ourselves, that we can have a communication with them as a neighbor species. You see one picture here, when we be projected, is one hand of one iguana in Galapagos. It's incredible because when you see a iguana, you said, I have nothing to do with this animal. It looks much more as one small dinosaur. But when you see the hand of this iguana, it's exactly as a hand of a warrior in the Middle Age, covered with metal. It's exactly our hand. And in this moment, we understand that we came all from the same cell, one basic cell that give origin to the other. And with the evolution, we went each one in one direction, species, and the iguana is yet our cousin. You see that is our cousin, the iguana. And all other animals are very much like us. After we have a chapter, 2 chapters of humans, I'm looking for what we were about 50,000 years before, working yet with groups of hunters and collectors. And we work with a lot of these groups. We work with the Bushmen that are in the end in Botswana, because government of Botswana pushed the Bushmen outside of their land, because they discover a lot of diamonds there. And they are creating big companies and mines. They camp them inside kind of refugee camps. They are paying money to them, but with this money they don't know what to do. They buy alcohol. They are destroying completely the Bushmen. But I found yet 2 groups of Bushmen that was possible to work with them, and to see that these guys are living exactly like we lived 50,000 years before. They are hunters, collectors. They live anything that they have, they get from the ground, they get from the air, they get from the desert, and they live in total equilibrium with their planet. I work with, just to tell you that we are coming back from Amazonas, we are working there with a group of Indians in north of the Amazonas River in Brazil. They were about 275 people. And the idea that they have the planet is made of 275 people, plus few white people that come to see them. That is their planet. And Leila was trying to explain then the big numbers. And she said, okay, guys, you know plane. Because a small plane, they have a land strip there that a small plane bring us. I said, you see a plane, we have so big planes that we can put full your tribe inside. They don't trust Leila. They don't know. That cannot be. they have other concepts of life. We are there, for example, we have wives that had 2 husbands, 3 husbands. I photographed one with 5 husbands, no? And the husband, they have 2 wives, 3 wives. They have another relation. This concept that religion imposes us, they don't have, because they don't have religion, they don't have property, they don't have chiefs, and they live in total different way, total equilibrium. They don't know repression. They don't know. One kid was jumping in front of my camera from son. The moment I tell to the mother through the translator to the kid to stop, she was very embarrassed because she don't know what it means. Tell someone to stop to do something that he wants to do. Why not? No, and it's so important to see these things. No, it's so there. And this is the chapter about the beginning of humans, and we have the last chapter that was the way that we lived about 2,000 years before. This we have many of this group of people, this village, and because it's much closer from us. And for example, we'll be seeing pictures from south of Sudan. I work with the Dinkas in south of Sudan, and these guys are the Nilotic population that gave a base for many different Nilotic groups, as the Tutsis in Burundi, as the Maasai in Kenya. They all originate from the Dinkas in the south of Sudan. It's population that live very close to the cows. They are very identified for this life, but they are very close to us because they practice the change. Recently, I worked with a group in Ethiopia. I was in the north of Ethiopia from September last year to November. I did a walk of about 600 miles in the north of Ethiopia inside the Old Testament. These people, they are Christians, they are Copts after 2,000 years. And there is few Jewish people yet, a few Falashas, that is the black Jews from Ethiopia, that big part of them migrated to Ethiopia to Israel in 1985, in the end of the Cold War. This big propaganda that we had that pushed them outside of Ethiopia, where they are living in very bad shape in Israel now, because they come out from the incredible place. I was there now in these lands, and these guys, because they have no road in a huge region, you see, be inside incredible real areas, they are living there in incredible way. And this is group of community that I'm photograph is the last part of the work. Our goal with these pictures is to go ahead with I will be finished to photograph in 2011. Now I'm going to the 60th year of photography in this project. And I will be photographed until the end of 2011. In 2012, we started to show these pictures in order to add us to understand that our real world heritage is what we have yet in pristine in this planet. That we must hold it, that together we must go to a kind of activism in order to protect. And in another sense, we are working a project, Instituto Terra in Brazil, to rebuild what we destroy that we don't need of it. We can rebuild a lot of this land that we destroy, recreate a lot of the ecosystem that we destroy together. And our wish is, after 2012, show these pictures in museums, in open space, create educational programs, try to see if we can work with many different institutions, offer these pictures in the ways that we can offer, in order to see if they can contribute to this understanding that the planet is our real Gaia, our real house, and that we must together protect it and have a better way to live together. Well, questions, and we'll discuss a little bit.
If you have a question, please wait for the microphone and it will come to you.
Can you just speak to your philosophy of the importance of developing a relationship with the subject before you even take a single picture?
do you know, these stories will need a lot of time to do them. No, I believe that is the most important thing. We have an idea what we go to photograph, but we don't know real what we bring back, what we find, and we need time to discover it. If you have sometimes closed concept, you have a big risk to bring back with you what you bring inside. And you must spend time to learn, to see. There is so many truths, so many reality, that spending time that people know you, that you know people, that you discover that is around you, you can really bring incredible things. That's a big advantage of the photography, that normally you are alone. And when you come to photograph, for example, the humans, we are real a gregarian animal. And when you come alone, you are received by a group. The group protect you. They try to understand you. When you are alone, what's essential? You tell to the person that in front of you. For example, if you want to eat something, if you want to drink, if you love your family, you ask what is important for him. No, you what about his friends, his family. You tell about yours. And in this moment, you are completely integrated to the thing. When you come in a group, that's more complicated. Because these things, you speak with the person that's beside you, that's not the group that's in front of you. And this moment becomes very difficult to integrate. And for this, the photography is much more easy to work. And give another thing. I saw, for example, groups of television going to realities. That was very important realities. And the guys arrived there with the concept made. And they made the guidelines of the story that we do, and they arrive, they work inside this very close guideline. In reality, they bring back what they bring there. No, is the point of view from here, and that gives you sometimes long-term misunderstanding of the reality. I don't know. We speak about radical people, Shiite, for example, in Iran. There is a truth for the Shiites. There is a reality that's a reality for them that we must understand looking from there, not looking from here. No, look inside their history, their reality, their landscape, the way that they live, their tradition. And this we must have time to understand. We must put time to do. With these stories, the landscapes, the other animals, it's the same. When you go to photograph a family of animals, we must spend time. We must discover a way to approach, to come to them. And there is a way. There is no problem. They have dignity, they have territory, they have the areas that we must respect. If you respect, you can do. You are accept, you are inside. And I believe that this concept of time that we must probably restore in our way to live, that we lose. We are so in a hurry. The things go so fast that we have no time to understand. Leila told me an incredible thing yesterday. Our plane came from San Francisco, was very delayed. We arrived 4 hours delayed to arrive here because I had a mechanical problem. We arrived tired. We came out. We came inside a friend that went to carry us from the airport. And look around, in an incredible town, biggest town in the United States, with hundreds of cars, thousands of cars going. We knew that humans were there inside, but no possible to see only one human. We don't saw one. No, and this incredible boulevard, this incredible pollution, this incredible noise. And Leila told me one thing, said, that's exactly a stupid thing that humans are doing that we must stop to do. No, because there is other way, to relate. There is other way to live. I believe that we go so in a hurry that we are not put to the question, to the essential of ourselves. No, is that correct? We must continue in this way. What can we change? I believe that's possible. There is no any process in the planet that are not reversible. We can go back in any process. We can stop, we can discuss, we can go back. We must take time to discuss. It's the same in photography, we must take time.
Now that you've replanted the valley in Brazil,
Oh, yes, please. Put again.
now that you've replanted the valley in Brazil, what has happened to the water table?
I didn't understand very well. Please.
What happened with the water table in Brazil, in the valley where you've planted the trees?
Oh, in our valley?
Yeah.
Oh, please. Do you know, it's incredible because we have no more water there. And with these trees that we plant, it's a lot by number, but it's not too big in what we cover. We started to have water back. And the underground water, I don't know very well because we do not did any research in the deeper, inside the land to see. But the small rivers that were dry, we have water now. And what's fantastic, and you see, take you take a shower. With your hair, if you don't dry then, you take 3 hours that they become dry, 4 hours. Me, I take a shower, it's 1 minute, it's dry. But, you know, this exactly with the trees. When we have no trees, we cut the trees. The rain comes, in 5 minutes, the water is down. In the valley, with a very big speed, with big destruction, bring the sun, bring the land, provoke erosion, kill the small rivers, filling them with sand, all this. But when we have trees, the root of the trees hold a lot of water. All the leaves, all the branch that come down, create a humus that hold the humidity. The sun don't come there, and this water takes 6 months to arrive in the river. They arrive by slow, but they arrive every day, every time. All year long, you have water, except if the drought is so big that take months and months and years. In this mountain, all water goes. But in normal situation, the water is there, and this water goes slowly inside the ground. And I'm 100% sure that we are rebuilding the table water inside the land. But I believe that this most important thing, the biggest factor of water in the plant, are the trees. And we were in India not too long ago. We went to after that I came from Sahara. A friend of us had a son that became married and went were invited, went to this wedding in New Delhi. And from there we went to Bangalore. And flying south of India, we're looking. There is no more trees. In a country today that has more than 1 billion people living together. India will be facing a huge problem of water. And people keep speaking that the Himalayas is melting. Majority of rivers from India come from Himalayas. And it's melting fast. If you don't plant trees very quickly in India, it will be a huge problem down there. And the only factor of water that we have in the planet are the trees, because we can equilibrate this amount of water going out, holding the land, and recreating the system of water. And in the same time, the trees, they act as carbon sequestration, because during the 20 years, in average, that they grow, they sequestrate much more carbon than they emit carbon. After that, the forest is adult, that is equilibrated. No? And this is so interesting, so incredible, and costs so few to plant the trees. In our valley down there, we have a project to plant about 50 million trees in the next 50 years. I believe that we'll be planting more because it's going more fast than we imagine. The people's responding better. But only give you an example. To plant 50 million trees will cost us about $100 million. It's a lot of money, $100 million. But it's nothing when you imagine that's the price to equip 2 fighter planes. That costs just $100 million, 2 fighter planes. And how many thousand fighter planes we are building in this moment around the world? No, this program of the new fighter plane in the United States is about $600 billion, one thing like this. And imagine with $600 billion, how many trillion trees was possible to plant around the world, equilibrate all these ecosystems, have clean air, sequestrated carbon, reduce the heating of the planet. No, and it looks very impossible how we will stop this process of heating. It's very easy to stop. It depends if we have a real wish to do. You have real public politics to do. And in this moment, we can go. That's not a problem. We have today, we are setting up there in our project technology to recuperate the tropical forest. It's very complicated ecosystems. For example, we plant now more than 400 different species. We have our nursery where we produce per year about 700,000 seedlings. We have a capacity bigger than this, but we don't have clients for them yet, but it's about 700,000 seedlings of about 160 different species per year. No? And we have technology for this now. That's not a problem. It's a problem of wish. If you want to do, we can do. And if you want together, we can do together. If same the public politics don't come, problem us here, no, with small foundations, with donors, with rich people, we can do. We can do. It's not a problem to do. No, it's a problem for us. If you want to do, if you can change mentality, we believe in a much better planet, in a much better way. A lot of disease that we have provoked by this pollution, we finish. No, we believe in with other species. We believe in another equilibrium. We become much more reasonable. And all these things is not complicated, but it's a problem of wish, and it is this.
If I'm not mistaken, most of your previous work has been done on 35 millimeter format, usually using Leicas. I noticed in the beginning of the presentation it said everything that you shot was on a medium format camera. I'm wondering two things about that. One, why did you choose to do that? And two, did it change your creative process at all? And was it more difficult given that you were using a larger camera in some really, really remote locations and really difficult shooting circumstances?
You know, when we imagine this project, we imagine a presentation a little bit different from what we did until now. And discussing with Lelia came the idea that in this time we try to present the pictures in another way. It was possible to have pictures, for example, inside a big garden, mixed with the trees, show the nature, the planet beside the nature, no? And for this, and have the shows open, in open garden, in open space, where we can have thousands of people come inside and look, be close to them, be around them. And for this, we necessary to have negatives a little bit bigger, to do these enlargements, because 35 millimeters would be very difficult to go ahead. You see the size of this printer here. With medium format, the quality is very good. It's fabulous good. With a 35 millimeters, would be not that. And I choose a camera that was the most close of the mine. First was the Pentax lens. They were very close to the Leica lens. It's the only lens made in Japan that are not too contrast, very high definition, and very low contrast as the Leicas are. You can have very sharp picture with not too high contrast. And second, that was a reflex camera that works and looks much more with the R Leicas. And I try many different qualities and sizes. And finally, we take a decision for this because it was very reliable camera. But now I changed. I'm not more weak with this Pentax. I'm working now with a digital camera. And after now 3 stories, I photograph with a digital camera. Because after the 11th September here in this country, become the hell for the photographers to travel with films around the world. Most with 220 films, that's a film that's very sensitive for the X-ray. The 35mm film is protected inside a small metal box and that hold better than the 220 film. And we start to see that films that cross more than 4 times in X-ray, this is a small X-ray that we put our bags on it, we lose the structure of the grain of the film, we lose the contrast, and it becomes nothing. It was a disaster. And I was traveling with letters from Kodak, from the magazines that work in these stores, applying people to do hand control. What was the hell? And last year, I photographed a group that we had not here because these pictures I had put together before was the Mentawai group in the Sumatra island. And from Sumatra to Paris, I crossed 7 X-ray. And was 7 fights to have this film safe from X-ray. In 2 airports was necessary, same to come the director of the airport. And was close to lose our planes. When we landed, we crossed the last control in Frankfurt. My assistant said, Sebastian, I give up. I don't work more with you, I cannot more. But you cannot imagine the stress before to go to these airports and be sure that will be a fight, every time I fight. And me, I was in the edge to abandon photography. And a friend of ours said, try the digital, see how that works. Now digital is very good, it's not what we mind. No more investment was made in films, what is true. No more silver in the films. The films, the results that you have with a medium format camera is as close of the results that you have, 35mm 20 years ago. And the papers were not good, the chemicals. I said, I try. And I tried a medium format, phase 1 in the Hasselblad medium format camera. Boy, the result was as good as 20-25 negative. The quality was really incredible. But these cameras was impossible to travel with them because they are made for a studio. I bring one in Congo and didn't work in the first day because they were very sensitive for these things. And I try a Canon 21 million things there, pixels, 20 million something. And that works very well. And we made enlargements as big as this. And it's fabulous. And that arrived for me, not a 645 camera, but a 6x9 camera. And we introduced the grain of the tri-X inside. And that became fabulous good. And for me, I don't know how to switch on the computers. I cannot work in the screen. We developed a technology. We are made in the contact sheets, exactly like my contact sheets. And I edit by contact sheets, and we are doing the work prints. In the same way, in reality, I just changed the base. In place to have a plastic base, I have now electronic base. And it's working perfect well. I'm quite happy now. I knew discussing with people of Leica that Leica is come out with a camera of 37 million things. That must be very good and very strong. But I tell you, I'm quite happy, much more light. I carry with me 600 rolls of 220 films. That's about 60 pounds of film. Very heavy inside my hand, inside the plane. Big fight of air companies to put all this heavy by hand there inside. Now is 1.5 pounds of my film. It's nothing. No problem of fixed rate. And I'm quite happy with. Okay. Okay, people. I believe that one question more, if you have. And there.
Okay, I'll go ahead. Could you please describe the process that you go through to edit, to select from years of your body of work to come up with a slideshow like this?
Well, this slideshow is a very restrictive thing because you see, I have no one vertical picture there. I put only horizontals. That means half of the pictures were eliminated because the audiovisual, no? And you must have in the audiovisual pictures that work more or less one with the other. But the process is much more large. In reality, you go, you photograph, I come back, I edit in contact sheets. I take about, in average, 6 pictures by film. No? And for me, it continues to be by film because I do more or less the same way that I did before. I calculate by film. And, but same, if I photograph 500 rolls of film, I have 3,000 prints. And I edit by these prints after. And I have a person that worked with me after 18 years, 20 years, that worked with me when I was in Magno yet. And after, we created a small agency, a photograph agency called Amazonas Images. It's the smallest photograph agency in the world. Well, there is only one photographer, but, but it is a photograph agency. And we have this person called Françoise Piffard. And I work with Françoise with the set of pictures in the first moment. We see together. Because I made this first choice. But after, there is a lot of emotion, mind emotion inside. And sometimes I have a picture that I like very much, but I need a second opinion to tell me that, Sebastian, this is not too strong as you imagine. Go ahead, this one. And we go together in this process. We eliminate a lot of them. And when we arrive in a base that about 600, 700 pictures of this, Lelia comes together. And we work together. We reduce them for 200, 300 pictures. We print them in a medium size. For us, it's 24 by 30 centimeters. I don't know well what's the American size for this, but a picture more or less like this. That become our base of work, these pictures. From there, we select about 100 pictures that we print in more big size. After that, we leave these pictures in the box for 2-3 months, sometimes look then. And after, we go together again. And we reduce this for about 100 pictures per store. In these 100 pictures, we be very well printed, very well done. Same what I'm photograph with digital. What we do with the digital, we produce one, from the archive, one negative 4 by 5 inches, and we print in fiber paper, very well printed again. And this 100 pictures, that will be the base of Lelia's work, to do the books, to do the shows, where we'll be working to do the slide shows like this, different slide shows sometimes, preparing this. That will be our base of work. In reality, Genesis will be composed of about 32 stories, and we'll be having about 3,000 prints, where we'll be selecting all the base of the work that we'll be doing, all the presentations in the end. But of course, I cannot use all this, but will be our base of work. But you see, we come from a process to finish in something. Sometimes people put me the question, tell me about one picture. I cannot tell about one picture. Absolutely not, because in this process, I don't work for one picture. I work for a story, And in reality, being photo reporter like I am, I'm a storyteller. And it's the group of pictures, the sequence of them, the mix of them, that for me is important. It's not just one picture. I know that in the end, when we'll be doing the final show, will be maximum 200, 300 pictures. You must cut inside, And in the end, Lelia likes, Sebastian, remember, I need few verticals, I need few things like this. Okay, we go, and this sometimes a compromise when you put the things inside, and you eliminate pictures that we love very much, but there is no place for them. And sometimes they come, we show them in another situation. But the important is the memory side of the photography. That we go, we have stories, we collect them, and these pictures probably in 50 years, 100 years, if they hold, if they stay there, they will be telling part of our history. They become part of our memory, part of the archives. I believe that is the most important thing in photography, that photography is a little bit a memory of our planet, a historic moment that we are living. Thank you very much.
Vida, o que o coração achou de nomear, gritando. Recria.